Imagine this. Your dog is completely calm. Maybe they're lying on the floor beside the couch. Maybe quietly chewing on a toy. Everything feels peaceful. Then, suddenly, your dog jumps up. They sprint across the room, slide across the floor, dash through the hallway, circle the coffee table, then race back the other direction like a tiny rocket. For a few seconds, your entire house turns into a racetrack. And then, just as quickly as it started, they stop. Your dog walks away, lies down, and acts like nothing happened. If you've ever seen this, you're not alone. Dog owners everywhere have a name for it: the Zoomies. Most people assume dogs do this because they simply have too much energy, but that explanation is only part of the story. Because these sudden bursts of running usually happen for very specific reasons. In fact, scientists even have a name for them: Frenetic Random Activity Periods, or simply FRAPs. And once you start noticing when Zoomies appear, you realize they aren't random at all. Think about when Zoomies usually happen. For many dogs, it's right after a bath. The moment the bathroom door opens, your dog explodes into motion. They sprint down the hallway, jump on the couch, race across the carpet like they've just escaped something dramatic. Other times it happens after dinner, or late at night when the house is quiet. Your dog suddenly starts doing high-speed laps around the living room. Sometimes they run the same route over and over again. Around the table, across the rug, down the hallway, back again.
Wait for it.
Almost like they designed their own tiny racetrack inside your home. It might look chaotic, but inside your dog's body, something very natural is happening. And the most common reason begins with something simple: energy. Dogs spend a surprising amount of their day waiting. Waiting for their walk, waiting for food, waiting for someone to throw the ball again, waiting for you to come home. During that time, energy slowly builds inside their body. Unlike humans, dogs don't always release that energy gradually. Instead, their body sometimes releases it all at once. So, rather than slowly burning off extra energy, their brain suddenly decides it's time to move. Fast. Very fast. Running at full speed for 10 to 15 seconds may look wild to us. But for a dog, it's an efficient way to release a burst of stored energy. It's like their body pressing a reset button. Energy builds, Zoomies happen, energy released, and then everything returns to normal again. And if you've ever watched closely during these moments, you may notice something funny. Many dogs follow the exact same path every time the Zoomies start. Some dogs create incredibly consistent routes inside the house. Maybe they sprint around the couch, cut sharply past the chair, slide across the kitchen floor, then circle back through the hallway. Over time, that route becomes familiar, almost like a tiny racetrack they know perfectly. Their body learns the turns. Their muscles anticipate the corners. So when the Zoomies begin, they instinctively follow the same path, almost like a miniature race car driver who has memorized the track. And if your dog does Zoomies like this at home, you're definitely not alone. In fact, behaviors like this are exactly why this channel exists. So if you enjoy learning the strange and fascinating things dogs do, consider subscribing. Because dogs are constantly doing things that seem mysterious at first. But once you understand the reasons behind them, their behavior becomes even more fascinating. But energy release isn't the only reason Zoomies happen. Sometimes the trigger is emotional. Think about what happens after a bath. Many dogs tolerate bath time, but very few truly enjoy it. The water, the unfamiliar sensation, the smell of shampoo. For a dog, it can feel strange and overwhelming. Then suddenly, the bath is over. The door opens. Freedom. And within seconds, your dog explodes into Zoomies. At first glance, it looks like excitement, but it's often something deeper. Movement is one of the ways animals release tension. Running helps their body shake off stress. Their muscles loosen. Their breathing changes. Their nervous system resets. In a way, those wild laps around the living room may be your dog's way of saying, okay, that experience is over. This is why Zoomies often appear after other stimulating moments too. After grooming, after meeting new people, even after a long day indoors. Their body simply needs a moment to release emotional energy. And the fastest way to do that is to run. Zoomies are especially common in puppies. If you've ever lived with a young dog, you probably know this very well. A puppy might be perfectly calm 1 second. Then suddenly, they leap into motion. They sprint across the room, bounce off the couch, spin in circles, grab a toy, drop it, run again. Puppy brains are still learning how to regulate excitement. Everything feels new. Everything feels stimulating. So their emotions rise and fall quickly. One moment, they're sleepy. The next moment, their brain decides it's time for full speed play. No warning, no slow buildup, just instant movement. And this often creates moments that look completely ridiculous, but also incredibly joyful. There's another funny moment many dog owners notice. Sometimes Zoomies happen right after a dog goes to the bathroom outside. You unclip the leash, your dog finishes, and suddenly they sprint across the grass like they've just won a race. They run wide circles, kick their legs, dash back toward you at full speed, then run away again. For a few seconds, they look like a tiny athlete celebrating a victory lap. No one knows exactly why this happens, but many behaviorists believe it's another form of emotional release. Relief, excitement, or simply a burst of freedom after focusing on something. It's another reminder that dogs experience the world through movement. And that instinct for sudden speed may come from something much older than living rooms and carpets. Long before dogs lived in human homes, their ancestors relied on explosive movement to survive. Wild canines depend on bursts of speed for chasing prey, escaping danger, testing agility. Those short bursts of running are deeply built into their biology. Even though modern dogs rarely need to hunt anything, their bodies still remember how. Zoomies may simply be a playful expression of that ancient instinct. Your dog isn't chasing prey in your living room, but their muscles still enjoy the sensation of speed, the quick acceleration, the sudden turns, the rush of movement. For a few seconds, their body is doing exactly what it evolved to do. Move fast, very fast. And interestingly, Zoomies often appear during moments of happiness. After you come home from work, after a fun walk, during playtime. It's almost as if their excitement spills over. Their body simply can't contain the energy of the moment, so it releases it the only way it knows how: running. If you watch closely during Zoomies, you'll notice something about your dog's expression. Ears back, eyes bright, body loose and playful. They're not afraid. They're not stressed. They're simply overwhelmed with motion. And sometimes, that motion turns your living room into a brief explosion of chaos, but a joyful one. Remember that moment we talked about at the beginning? Your calm dog suddenly transforming into a tiny rocket, racing across the house, sliding around corners, circling furniture like they're competing in a secret race. At first, it feels completely random, but now you know something interesting. That burst of running may actually be your dog doing several things at once: releasing stored energy, shaking off stress, responding to excitement, or simply expressing instincts that go back thousands of years. What looks like chaos to us is actually a very natural part of being a dog. Dogs experience the world physically. They run when they feel excited. They run when they feel relieved. They run when their body feels full of energy. And sometimes, they run simply because it feels good to move fast. So the next time your dog suddenly sprints across the house in a wild burst of Zoomies, pause for a moment and watch. Because for a few seconds, your dog isn't just running. They're expressing energy, emotion, instinct, and a little bit of pure joy, all at full speed. And once you start noticing these strange little moments, you realize something fascinating. Dogs are constantly communicating through their behavior, even when it looks silly, even when it looks chaotic. They're always telling us something. We just have to learn how to read it. And moments like this are exactly what this channel is all about. Dogs do so many strange little things that seem random at first, but when you look a little closer, there's almost always a fascinating reason behind them. So if you enjoy discovering the hidden meaning behind your dog's behavior, consider subscribing, because every week we explore the small habits dogs have and what they might really be trying to tell us. And in the next video, we're going to look at another behavior almost every dog does. Why do dogs sniff other dogs' butts? It might look awkward to us, but in the world of dogs, that greeting actually carries an incredible amount of information. And once you understand what dogs are really discovering in that moment, you'll never look at that behavior the same way again.